Hello, everyone, and welcome to another block chat. Today is a special block chat because we're going to talk about a new um, launchpad project. On the Oceanpoint launchpad, we are opening up soon a new marketplace pool. It's going to go live on November 11th, so just in a couple days from now. And today I have with me the CEO of Tokeniza, the project from Spain that is launching on the launchpad. Moises, welcome to the block chat and pleasure to have you here. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Denis, and hello to all the BST community. Thanks for having me here and this incredible opportunity.
So Moises, can you tell me? I mean, we've known each other for some time now, we've been working together since a couple of years back. And but can you tell me more, or tell our community more about basically yourself and your past experience? You know, how did you get to where you are today?
Yes, basically, I'm a digital transformation consultant with more than 15 years of experience, um, focus on multinational projects. And one day, well, at least at many of us, we discover Bitcoin, blockchain, and the goodness of the of tokenization, volatility, transparency, immediateness. So we are start seeking for new opportunities, and we start with this project basically with the we or I specialize in with Web3. I've been working as a Web3 consultant for almost 5 years now, working with other technology providers. Met Block Square, and really new is in technology infrastructure. And I think it's a top player in this in tokenization. So we really push to launch our marketplace, and now to seek for opportunity with the launchpad in order to reduce the cost of Block Square infrastructure and impact the saving on the investor experience and a loyalty program, basically.
So basically, you have been in the space for quite a long time, right? 5 years you mentioned in Web3. Um, can you tell me a bit more about, you know, where do you see the tokenization, being, in the next 5, 10 years? You know, you've been a bit early, I would say, to the real estate tokenization game, as we have as well. So you were one of the, early adopters of the technology that we provide, and obviously that gave you certain struggles, but you're still here today with, a lot that you have learned so far. And yeah, and can you tell me, where do you see what's going to happen in the next 5 years or so? What are the plans for Tokeniza?
Well, I really believe next year, maybe mid or at the end of next year, will be when tokenization will be for the for massive users. I mean, because um, regulation is coming, and although I know that many players don't like regulation, uh, regulation will help for a massive adoption in this. The same that e-commerce at the early 20 years ago, let's say, or 10 years ago, when regulation comes, more and more users will be more protected, let's say, and will adopt tokenization massively, I think.
So, if we go to maybe look into Tokeniza, well, here you mentioned regulation. I know that in Spain, because you guys are from Spain, I know that a massive, massive burden has been, or challenge has been to find a way to tokenize real estate um, from a compliance and regulatory perspective. I guess the regulation that you are mentioning is the MiCA regulation that is coming into force. But we all know that there's also MiFID II regulation, which is in place since some time ago. And this MiFID II regulation, a lot of times it impacts tokenization businesses because it drives them in a framework that was never meant to live or coexist with tokens or tokenized markets. And for instance, the way Blocksberg tokenizes real estate, we now have quite, also legal certainty that it will be categorized under MiCA. But before there was MiCA, it was not categorized as anything. So, those kind of things are those that can drive adoption because they give certainty not only to the investors on the other side, but as well to marketplace operators and real estate owners who have a big question mark when it comes to compliance. They want to stay safe, and that's normal. You don't want to go and have legal troubles if there's no need for doing it just because you want to be innovative. So yeah.
Yeah, fully agree. Regulation is evolving because regulators don't know about tokenization. So they want to protect rather than monitor what startups are doing. So right
Mhm.
now, we are under MiFID because property tokens are considered as securities, but I'm pretty sure that moving forward, they will not be considered as pure securities. Let's say there will be a differentiation between what is a share of a bond and what is, for instance, a participatory loan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is, and that is, we are working with, well, I think, same than you, we are working with a lot of lawyers as well. We are always in contact with our regulator to provide maximum transparency what we
Mhm.
are doing with Block Square. So I hope that moving forward, this will be more easy, let's say, not with many roadblocks that
Mhm.
like we are facing right now.
Yeah, we at Bloxburg, we're aware that this is also an issue. Like, just being a technology provider doesn't cut it, because on the other side, your client or your partner that's running a marketplace then needs to deal with all the compliance things. And so we've made quite a lot of advancements this past year. And we'll be announcing these things when they're kind of ripe. But kind of the highlight or the gist of it is that we'll be able to kind of accommodate and take off a lot of the compliance and regulatory burden from our partners, whether that's real estate owners or marketplace operators. And so, stay tuned. I think this is going to be a big change for our ecosystem, because as you get more legal and regulatory certainty, and you can actually make promises to your customers without with certainty, then you can definitely kind of excel the business flow, which means you can start addressing more professional investors, larger volumes can start coming in, and that can help marketplace operators like Tokeniza and others in our ecosystem. Now,
Yeah.
I want to touch on Tokeniza. So I really think that our community is interested in learning about Tokeniza, what you guys do, and what is your edge on the market. We mentioned you guys are from Spain, so you are definitely addressing the Spanish speaking market. I know you've done tons of efforts as well to educate people about the way blocks are tokenizing the real estate, because it's inherently the way you guys tokenize real estate. You also have a special edge, which market you are kind of entering and offering access to, which we're going to talk about as well. Um, and obviously the team behind it. I think it's important to understand who are the people that are making, gonna make Tokeniza a success. So let me jump here, and we can start maybe with opening up, the presentation, and just jumping to the first kind of slide where we can talk about more about about the 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 product itself. What are you guys tokenizing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, our selling proposition, let's say, is that we are the only marketplace for tokenized unpaid mortgage loans. And what that means? Well, there is a market of non-paid loans called NPLs that global financial entities sell in order to manage their delinquencies and above all in order to clean their balance, meeting the required financial regulator ratios that they must meet. So for in that market,
Can we just
near to approx 21,000 million are
Mhm.
mortgages, what is called NPL secure. And this type of investment allows a high profitability, counting with a high downside protection of the investment because we are buying debt, okay, but always with a property as collateral.
Mhm.
And this market is, let's say, systemic. It doesn't mind if a macroeconomy goes well or bad. There will be always debt opportunities like this one. So how it works? Basically, financial institution package thousands of unpaid mortgage loans, what is called portfolio, and sell them. These portfolio are acquired by international funds or national funds. And this fund subcontract servicers who are in charge of managing the recovery of unpaid debts. Of course, with the aim of recovering more than the amount that they pay. So in that moment is when Tokeniza takes place because this market is only for funds with or investors that have a high investment ticket, more than 300K. So we allow through Tokeniza's participatory loans, we allow the entry of the retail investors, always with at the really beginning, always with a ratio 1 NPL, 1 tokenization. Let's see, a ratio of 1 to 1.
Okay. So for somebody who doesn't, who hears for the first time, non-performing loans, mortgage-backed securities, in a way, sounds really scary because, the 208 crisis and, what was happening there when, and people might think it's all the same thing or it's the same or a similar thing. What's the answer there? I'm sure that you get this kind of question a lot of times when you talk with potential investors or clients looking into participating in the deals on Tokeniza.
Well, the main, uh, let me explain it better because the we buy the debt, but always with the right of on the property as collateral. So in order to not scare people and give more visibility, it's important to know the process of this of the debt recovery, let's say.
Mhm.
So we don't just go and buy one NPL that is available. So we firstly analyze the list of NPLs in order to identify the default situation and asset of interest, looking
Mhm.
for three KPIs: the
Mhm.
retail price of the property, the amount of debt, and the auction date. So only those NPL that pass the three KPIs are filtered and moved to the next stage with this inspection. Here we look into the foreclosure process and the occupational status of the asset to confirm if we have legally secured the right to execute the sale in favor of a third party without taking ownership. Why without taking ownership? Because we will incur in additional costs, registration, notary, taxes. Those that have filtered that stage move to the contact phase, a negotiation with the owner of the properties,
Mhm.
in order to search an agreed solution to the situation of the mortgage default. Mainly is datation in payment. So that means that we can sell the property in auction through a foreclosure.
Mhm.
Once we are really secure of that, we move to the negotiation phase with the financial entities in order to get a good discount of the mortgage. Uh, Sorry, I'm here, Dennis, although I don't see you. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Um,
Let me
but
check if I can get back. Shall I? Uh, Come
I don't
on
know what happened with the camera.
again.
But for the time being, because you're trying to fix the camera, maybe you can log out and log in. For our viewers, what Moises was kind of describing is non-performing loans are basically a big issue for the banking industry because banks do not want to possess property really. It's not in their interest, and the regulation for banking kind of requires them to sell off this non-performing loans before they go into default, as if it's possible. So they're trying to kind of package them and sell them to these investment funds. And obviously, as Moses described, to be able to kind of recoup the debt owned, there's manual work or quite a lot of work that needs to be done and communication with each individual that is on the other side of that debt. And there's a process to be made, and because they are selling off the debt to non-financial institutions or to institutions that are not regulated as banks, those institutions have a bit more ways of how they can deal with it, and they can kind of um, um, uh, make money, let's say, in a different way, because their scope is different as investors. And with Tokeniza, this opportunity that is otherwise reserved to various funds, where entry tickets are 300K and more, is presented as well in a tokenized form to anybody, basically with an internet connection, which I think is really cool. The question that I will have, looking into deals that's going to be listed in your marketplace is obviously questions like, what is the risk profile of that particular investment, that particular non-performing loan, and it's going to be interesting to see when you have tokenized 100 of them, how much of them were successfully returned positive returns for investors, and how many of them have not. But I would assume that it will be smart for your community to invest um, across multiple opportunities instead of just focusing on two, three of them, because there's obviously risks associated with such investments. Um, that being said, we're talking about risk. I think one of the most important things when it comes to a project is their team. Here is Tokeniza's team. Can you tell us a bit more, how you guys started Tokeniza, who joined later on, what's the role of each of them?
Sure, Dennis, but let me say one thing before about the risk
Sure.
of these operations. When we say high profitability with high downside protection, is let me put an example. For instance, our first opportunity that is available in the marketplace, the retail price of the property is around 400K. The outstanding debt always is default, because that's why the bank sell the mortgage, is around 300K. And we buy the NPL, the NPL cost is 200K. So you can imagine the difference between the retail price and the cost of the NPL. Once we go to action, we aim to sell the property, of course, less than the retail price. So who buy in action also have its margin for the retail, but it's around 300K as well. So it may goes better or worse. The auction price could be higher or less, but there is always profit in these operations.
And that's because the acquisition price is much lower, like more than 30% lower. So it means that, if you're able to let's say instead of 300, you would sell it for 270, you're still making 70 in profit.
Exactly. Of course, we must discount the operational cost, because
Yeah,
this involves a lot of lawyers and people with
of
these
course.
phases, but it's always a profit operation.
Okay, very interesting. Um, Going back to the deck and the team,
Yep.
can you tell us more about the team?
Okay. Of course, I'm the CEO. I'm full-time dedicated to this project, and I say before I'm a digital transformation consultant. Then we have Fernando Ramos, is our legal chief officer, has huge experience in. Okay, bye bye again.
By the way, we can hear you. We cannot see you, but we can
Okay,
hear you. So you can just continue. Yeah.
sorry, BST community. Fernando Ramos is our legal chief officer, has a lot of experience in compliance, GDPR, and also in business around blockchain and tokenization. She's the CLO of Bit2Me, which is the bigger exchange for Spanish-speaking community. Then we have Pedro Millán. He has, professionally speaking, he has two roles, because he's a marketing expert, as well as he has its own agency, but also he's a manager of tourist or vacational apartments, let's say. He has more than 300 apartments being managed by his team in Spain in order to get profit them. Let's say. Felix Pedroche is our business development expert, and is also a startup mentor and has a love of feeling as a technology consultant as well. And Fernando Fernandez is our financial expert, is the one who seek for new partnerships and opportunities in order to issue more tokenization with our legal vehicle. It's important to say that we all tokenization in our marketplace are issued by our legal vehicle, by Tokeniza, which is an Inc. company. So we protect investors, and we subcontract promoters, let's say, that are the ones who run the real estate project. But it's important to say that the funds that from investors are always in Tokeniza. All the operations are signed by Tokeniza itself, not by our promoters or our subcontracting partners.
And here we
Um,
can move to side capital.
exactly. Site Capital is the servicer or
Mhm.
the debt recovery manager that work with us. They have a lot of experience managing this kind of operations. About all Manuel Marin have more than 30 years of experience, and the fourth of them together are in a closing process of a fund, 2 million fund, and are in the process of funding a new fund, which is called Say2, of around 7 to 10 million. This is important that to say that uh, Tokeniza partner with site with operations like one tokenization for one operation with one NPL, but they are in parallel working for its own investor in its own fund. The thing is that in order to enter that fund, an investor must have more than 300K of tickets. So
Mhm.
if any BST holder want to enter that fund directly and not go through Tokeniza, I can present them, and yes, they may, it could
Okay.
be a good opportunity as well. But for the retail investor, I think that Tokeniza is a game mm,
So that's
change change player,
mhm.
because there's no way to enter in these operations with a retail investment.
So in a way, this collaboration will go both ways, right? On one side, there's a service that they can provide to Tokeniza, but on the other side, there's also certain clients that maybe are not suitable to enter their funds because there's a 300K minimum ticket, and that means that maybe some people might opt to to invest through Tokeniza instead of direct with side.
Exactly, that's the key thing.
Yeah,
That is
very good.
an additional channel for them to get in more investors.
All right. So I guess you have kind of some kind of collaboration agreements in place that will make this kind of interesting for both parties.
Yeah, exactly. But on top, they are not only partners; they are friends. Sorry to say that. I know
Yeah,
them for many years ago.
very interesting. And that gets us to kind of a last slide that I wanted to go through today with you, and this is the KPIs. So maybe if you reconnect Moises, and in the meantime, I'm gonna just let people know a bit about the KPI system for the Launchpad. So how the Launchpad works is that you have specific KPIs in place that a project needs to declare before um, uh, receiving a confirmation on the governance board to even launch on the launchpad. What this means is, for instance, a project might say they will be tokenizing 10 million worth of real estate in the next 12 months, or they might say, we want to onboard 1,000 users to our marketplace, or it can be a combination of multiple KPIs. And I think Tokeniza here has done a very interesting set of KPIs, or declared an interesting set of KPIs that they want to achieve within 12 months from the time of completing successfully the Launchpad campaign. Moises is back with us. We can see him now. You have a very interesting trick there, by the way.
Yes,
You can
yes.
disappear like that. You're kind of
I,
Houdini-like.
I
Yeah.
I promise to fix this in the incoming EMEA sessions. I promise.
Mm. All right, no worries. I just explained, how the KPI system works, and that
Yeah,
you guys have basically prepared a set of KPIs that's quite interesting because there's quite a lot packed into it, and it would be great to help us understand how to read them.
sure. Well, first of all, of course, maximum transparency and communication with our community, with the BST communities, and we have to run one EMEA session monthly
Hmm.
in English and Spanish as well. Uh, one tokenization monthly. We have the capacity to issue one operation with tokenization monthly. Thing is that we need to ensure community support us with the soft cap of each tokenization, of course. Um, the buyback of each tokenization right now is around 18 months, from 15 to 18 months, and we hope to reduce it to 12 to 15 months. And each tokenization, in the NPL business case, okay, we hope to, well, we plan to give a return of higher than 15%.
Mhm.
And of course, what is really important for us as well is that those BST holders that play the sBST in our marketplace are recompensed, let's say, with a loyalty program, giving
Okay.
them early access to our tokenizations in pre-sales or in sale, higher return, and this is our dream. Let's see if we get it. But those that have those holders that have a tier level, let's say, why don't they could submit or propose a tokenization that is tokenized through our legal vehicle and in
Mhm.
the marketplace of Tokeniza? Why don't? It will be, it's the dream and the decentralization and what
Mhm.
we all in blockchain are aiming to achieve.
I think one of the things is interesting is, we currently there's 12 marketplace operators on Blocksberg's infrastructure. That's not a lot. And you get a lot of times, an inquiry from somebody who learned about us through somebody in our community, and they're, I don't know, tokenizing a resort in Zanzibar, for instance. And we are obviously not equipped to help them directly because it's hard for us to safely bring that asset on chain and offer it. But if we would have a marketplace operator there, that would be much easier. So we went to the nearest one in the region and then kind of said, hey, talk with Paimi. And because they're based in Uganda, and they might have a better view over Tanzania. But on the other side, if for instance we have somebody who is based out of Spain or maybe even Portugal, Tokeniza is a marketplace operator who is, native speaks Spanish. And obviously, I know Portugal is Portuguese, but
We
still,
understand each other.
it's much closer in cultures and in the region as well geographically. And obviously, that's what we then might do. You recommend them to Tokeniza instead of us. And I think anybody in the community who has maybe projects that are located, especially in Spain. Moises here, I believe, is the main person to get in touch with. That being said, in terms of KPIs, I have let's just kind of read them through again as per our forum. And by the way, I prepared here this QR code on the top left side that you can see, and you can scan it and go to the forum.blocksquare.io, and it's gonna take you to Keniza's thread where you can post any questions you might have or anything like that, to directly talk with Moises and the Tokeniza team. Um, so if we kind of redo the KPIs, we said 10 AMA sessions conducted within 12 months, so it's almost one per month that they will be doing. All tokenized properties, they are planning to achieve an internal rate of return, IRR, greater than 13%. For within the 12 months, they are promising to bring 10 tokenized property to each of a value that's exceeding $240,000. And they're planning to have mandatory buyback periods for these investments within the range of 15 to 18 months, which is kind of interesting because it gives investors the ability to have like a clear exit strategy for their tokens, and it's not just the secondary market that is the only kind of options there. And last but not least, they want to implement a loyalty program on top of the returns that those who engage in Tokeniza's marketplace pool campaign that is launching, as we said, in a couple of days on September 11th, 10 a.m. UTC. And here, what I would like to kind of say is the specific thing about Tokeniza is that they have committed to achieve these KPIs a much, much higher than minimum required collateral. So they have put much more at stake to achieve this. Instead of the 500 sBST, which is the minimum, they have pledged more than 10,000 sBST. Now, what does this mean? For those who really kind of follow the launchpad, you understand that each marketplace pool has a score, and that score is calculated based on the deposit amount and the length of delivery. So the longer time, the lower the APY, and the higher the collateral, the higher the APY. So it's a combination of those two for now. In time, we'll be introducing other metrics like amount and value tokenized and or I don't know, revenues distributed and other metrics that we can take from the data that is produced by a marketplace. But currently, these two metrics are the only ones impacting it, which means that Tokeniza's marketplace pool is, I think, setting a much higher requirement for every future project if they want to offer a competitive APY. And for those who will be participating now in the campaign, the returns, the BST rewards are going to be quite interesting for those who will be part of Tokeniza's Launchpad campaign. Moises, we are almost at 40 minutes. We had some small glitches during our call, but it was really good to have you here with me on a blog chat. Is there any kind of last remarks that you would like to share with our community watching us today?
No, just to say that the reason of our collateral in the launchpad is because we don't speculate with BST. We really believe in this project. So so that's why we put 10,000 sBST in the launchpad, because we are committed with this project and we really believe this is gonna be a success moving forward.
Thank you for the trust, Moises, in entrusting as well your business in our hands in a way through the collaboration that we are having together. There's new developments that our team is working week in, week out. There's a completely new redesign of the marketplace app, which I believe everybody's gonna love. There's a new T app for Oceanpoint that is being developed as well, and much more to come. So stay tuned. Thank you very much, everybody who was watching us today, and see you on the Launchpad campaign on September 11th.